Well, build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me balls, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I drown my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as just...
Hello everybody, welcome to Shortbangers. This is episode 99. I'm Matty. Got Colin on with me tonight. Colin, how you doing?
Good evening. I'm good. It's not really evening, is it? It started a bit earlier today. Aye.
Well,
it's still light outside.
Because we didn't care who's listening, we'll just clarify the time is 6:30, let's say.
Let's just say that.
Let's just say it's 6:30. I've got a picture of the day's newspaper with a talking clock. Right, we'll pretty much get straight in. In fact, before we do, if you like Shortbangers, this is obviously episode 99. We've got episode 100, naturally, next week. We've got special guest Gordon Smart, who's been on before. One of our best episodes had Gordon on it, and he's joining us to commemorate our 100th episode next week. So get plenty of questions into us. We've only got a few for the night, so it should be quite a short episode for this one.
And then we're retiring at 100 and leaving it be. Is that the plan?
Nah.
Feel like David Brent retiring the office after 14 episodes or whatever it was.
Aye, okay, what an idiot. I was thinking, this probably isn't for sharing on Shortbangers, but I was thinking the other day about what else you could do, like see for like a funny podcast, but something like The Office, whether it would translate to a podcast. Kind of if you were doing like spoof one-to-ones with folk, or that kid, or I think kid. Anyway,
I've told you before that, like about the person that tried to get their, when I was a manager, give me a good appraisal rating, and they were saying the reasons why, and one of the reasons being that they had organised the Grand National Sweepstake, and they were trying to put that down as and I'm going, well, what kind of fucking objective is that like? That
kind of thing. So, but you imagine that you do that, and then so you're. I'm that person I'm saying, and you'd be able to say what you were thinking, or like that was kind of how I was playing it through in my head, was be like your internal monologue, almost like Peep Show, kind of where you hear what they're thinking. So when you say, "Ken, why do you think you should get a good rating?" and you say, "Organise the Grand National," then for fuck's sakes, and then on for there. Right, well, we get some questions in. We should do. The other thing I thought of, by the way, was we did it, I think, before, with folks sending problems, but spoof problems, and then answering them as a couple of like phony agony aunts.
Oh, that would be
agony
good.
Uncles. Aye. Because you could get folks to submit, if anyone wants to do it, and submit as like a phony issue that you've got.
We'll put that in the same bucket as Festival, eh?
Aye, that kind of idea.
That big black hole.
Aye, we have the idea that happens, but. It's amazed with the era, right? First question of the night. Guinness 2022 said, Shortbangers, when I lived in the UK, anytime I was driving north from Carlisle and saw the road sign Glasgow 98, I felt it impossible not to voice it in an Ibiza 90s style DJ. Do Shortbangers respond to any road signs?
Well, aye, I do. I always hear the guy with the waltzers when I see the fasten your seatbelt sign on the bypass. And I always think it's like when the guy starts spinning you around and that. Yeah.
I've be a courteous driver, and I always say, please, because ironic that we missed that. In terms of places, I think when I was wee, if we ever saw a sign for Jedburgh, it would be Jediborough, because I loved Star Wars when I was wee. So I was always had like an idea of Jedburgh being somewhere where all the Jedis kicked about. Which would be fucking disappointing if you were a Jedi and that's where you ended up. But I can't think of any other signs that provoke a reaction. There's the Welcome to Scotland one, isn't it? When you're driving back from the border, that's always like a wee.
Racing to be first over as well. You ever lean forward or anything, so you beat the rest of the car in?
No, but I will. I will for now. There's not so much a sign, but anything you're driving past Tiny, you get the.
Aye.
Always get the fingers up. All right, good question. Guinness 2022. Next one from TG Willis. John's not here to appreciate the name. in the night. Betty Windsor is celebrating something at the beginning of June, while Longbangers be taking their holidays out with Britain to avoid all the palaver that week.
That's going to be a... Imagine the TV and radio, it'll just be wall-to-wall coverage, won't it? We're getting the day off. Long.
She's going to make it till then.
I think so. They should go over the COVID by the sounds of things. But we're getting a day off. We're getting an extra day. It's a Friday, isn't it? It's a bank holiday Friday. So we need to try and do something that's not involving TV or radio. That was like when the boy died, when their husband died, and putting fucking Absolute Radio 90s on, and they're talking about it, and you're going, just stick on a bit of fucking Happy Mondays or something.
Get like, popcorn and be done with it. Aye. Well, that's what they did it down in Shea. They just chucked the tunes on and had a wee party.
Aye.
The rest of us should have been able to do it.
Give a fuck. Aye.
Guinness 2022 against the Shortbangers. Sir Elton John once sang, "Sorry seems to be the hardest word." Surely not. What about that place name in Wales?
Any of them.
No, Cardiff.
Any of the ones with two L's.
Aye. Well, T.G. Willis is I'm not going to have a... I don't even care where you would start with it. He's quoted what the place name is, and it takes 2 lines on Twitter. And I wouldn't have the first idea of when to...
How you even say it?
Nah. It's like somebody's just got pissed and started mashing their keyboard.
I just like dropped a pen on the keyboard, and it's just started battling away.
Surely when it came to naming the place, now that they obviously know the Welsh language, right? But surely there's a point you're going, are you sure you want to call the town that? And somebody should be saying, even just for the cost of fucking paint for doing the signs for the start.
But even that though, that's the Welsh one. There's daft place names in fucking East Lothian. You know what I mean? It's like you drive past it and it looks like Athelstaneford. It's Ailshinford or something. How it's pronounced? Just Athelstaneford. Like you see it on the sign.
Mountgavi. Mountgavi. King Lassie.
Yeah.
Aye.
What about other words though? You've got words like the one that sprung to mind when you were. I thought it was words we were going down the route when you said that. There. It's like, I even heard it on the news this morning. Ben Shepherd, it was nuclear, right? So it's nuclear, and that's how you say it. But like, I think Donald Trump started it and it was like nuclear. Like they say it, he says it funny.
Aye.
Nuclear, like that. And it's just nuclear, is it not?
Yeah, nuclear.
Like, but I don't know if I'm wrong now because I hear these folk on the telly saying
No, you're not wrong. What is it? It's
specifically heard them saying that.
Specifically. People going to get the 3-letter words. So like, there's areas in London where they say axe instead of ask. Like, it's only 3 letters. How the fuck are you getting that wrong?
I've got 2 of them in the
way. It's ask, and they go, ask me a question. Ask you a question. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
I've heard that a few times. Actually. What's the other one's? Mikey Stewart's bad for should have. Should have. Me. Have.
Yeah. He says it, right, which is even weirder because normally it's because it's abbreviated, so you go should have, like that. But he separates the words should of, and that to me is worse than writing it down. It's like abbreviated. If you're going to do it, then nobody would notice it. Aye. Dyslexia is a trickier word to spell than it should be.
Is it?
Aye. That's one of the ironic ones. And then what's the one that you said that diarrhea? Was that your topic the other day? I had it written down for my phone down.
At my dad's work, when he was a manager, I had it written beside the phone because that's what or the milkman as it was phoned in sick with.
We used to just write S&D, so sickness and diarrhea, because even now, having worked in a team that dealt with absences, I still have to look up diarrhea anytime I go to spell it. It's just one of those. It's a shit word, isn't it? Tony Swanson says, what becomes of the broken-hearted? Do they just go to the physio or end up signing for our growth?
What we're talking about here?
So there's a song, What Becomes of the Broken-Hearted?
Aye. Yeah. What's the physio got to do it?
Well, this how would they patch it up?
Oh. Right. I thought there was something that happened. What was our birth?
I don't think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tony. You can text in 80295 and tell us what our birth reference.
I thought I was missing something. I thought I was missing. I knew the song, but I thought I was missing something had happened here to do with our birth. But
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
I think some of them phone in Headbangers as well, don't they?
Yep, we get them. The broken-hearted. I wonder if we could set up a place for them. I suppose there's a cardiac unit at the hospital. Was the obvious place, isn't it? Like for the really badly broken ones. It's like the Wham song. Last Christmas I gave you my heart. Very next day I was dead from fucking traumatic blood loss.
That's right.
And no having a heart.
That didn't rhyme though, so you changed that.
I had to change it. Always thought it was. Imagine getting that. Like it's like you've seen the film Seven.
Yeah.
And at the end, kind of obviously opens the box and there's the heat.
Spoiler.
Spoiler. There's a heat in the box. But last Christmas I gave you my heart. Imagine she could give the wee present and be shaking. Oh, doesn't sound like jewellery, but it's quite wee. What the fuck is this? Fucking Megan.
You went kind of literal with it. I was thinking more broken-hearted as in like Match.com or whatever it is now. Tinder, isn't it?
Tinder.
That's where you go nowadays, don't you? If you're broken-hearted, it's like right.
Aye.
Move on.
Next. Aye.
So much easier nowadays, eh?
I had a mate who was addicted to Tinder. I can't remember if I talked about it before.
You've told me that, but I don't know if it was on this or not.
Aye, obviously, we'll go name names or anything, but with the kind of persuade them to stop it. Mental. Literally spend. Can you be sitting talking to me? What are you doing? Just on the phone, swiping. Aye, change days, eh?
Must be demoralising though if you're sitting swiping and nobody ever swipes back as well, eh?
Aye.
You would have to just switch it off, and just say,
aye,
no,
done.
I'll have to put another photo on here, somebody else.
Aye.
Or these women just looking for somebody with a good sense of humour, but they're not really.
Or an attractive elbow. Just take a wee picture of my elbow, like the side bit of my arm. I hope for the best. Looks like a wee bitty in the distance somewhere, like a wee dot in the photo. What is it to say if you put a different photo? Is that catfishing? Is that what they call that?
That's if you're pretending to be somebody else.
Aye, so if
they made a whole TV programme on that. On Channel 4 or Channel 5. It was the name wrong, but I was going to say the Cube or something. It wasn't the Cube. They were on a block of flats.
Oh, aye.
And you could pretend to be somebody
else.
What
was that called? Was that The House or something like that? I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the name of it. But I never really watched it, but I've seen bits of it on Gogglebox. I think is where I've seen most of it.
Yeah, that's how I'm aware of it.
Aye. Can't remember it, but you could pretend. You could say, I'm going to catfish this one. I'm going to pretend I'm fucking Denise Van Outen. Because it was a celebrity one, I think. Whereas other ones were just being who they actually are.
Who they were.
Weird.
But I'm sure there's something on MTV where they catch folks who have been catfishing on dates and stuff like that as well, and then they call them it. Anyway, right, Paul Mackay said, is there a name for a collective amount of long or Shortbangers podcasts if you listen to two or more at once? If not, why not? And he's with hashtag Gangbangers. I would say that's a big bang. That's what I would go for.
Big bang. Yeah. Is that just, what is it, if it's more than two, as he said? So you've got long bang, short
two more
bangers,
at once.
Bangers, and quick bang.
Yeah.
So there's four, aye. Big bang. It's probably one to. That is a text 80295 one. That's probably maybe even been a topic on that show.
It's been long enough. We're running out of ideas. What will we do? Give me your suggestions for that one. Big Bang Gang Bang. I thought that was quite a good one as well. Like 150k on Hanlon Hill. After seeing Fattest Prickus sporting a pair of staunch shoes this week, what is the worst footwear you have ever owned? And he's put in brackets, grey tandem slip-ons for school disco when I was 10. They fell apart on the big night.
Amazing.
What's your worst shoes?
The ones that spring to mind is I got a pair. My mum and dad got me my mum got me a pair. It must have been P6, maybe P7. and they were like a pair of, it was like, sure they were purpley colour, like slip-on Namic trainers or Velcro trainers. I'm like, I'm not wearing them. Like, even then I'm going, they've like not even got two stripes. Kind of used to be Gola Jets was my go-to to try and get close to wearing Adidas.
Yeah.
Mum and dad didn't have a lot of money in the days. Fucking money now,
same
like
here.
I've got,
Same here.
I fucking now, like fucking money pushing out them since I've moved out. But fucking hell, it was they were horrible, and I'm like, I'm not wearing them. Fucking made me wear them to school. I think I had to go to, kind of like when you just go to the church, it might be Christmas or Easter or something. And it was like having to wear that with the school something like these fucking things open, trying to let nobody see them. But how could you can't hide your feet? You're walking, it's like fucking horrendous.
I shudder to think what some of my, because my mum and dad would never spend money on trainers of that kind. It would be as cheap as they could get, pretty much. I think it wasn't until high school. I think they were like kind of conceded that maybe
it'll get bullied now.
Still be getting a kick in, please. Get me some nice trainers.
I was a night. I can still get thrown back at it now because they would go into a shoe shop, a trainer shop, and it would be like, right, what's the budget? I don't know, 30 quid again. So I'd be looking at, I'd be like, I like them ones. They're 35 quid though. But I like them. Your fucking budget's 30 quid. My dad would end up going out the shop and saying, it's no fucking getting, you're not getting any then. Let's go. that was the routine. I used to always go, just automatically. Well, if the budget's 30, I'll start looking at the ones that are 35.
It's over. Chance my arm with it.
Oh, fucking hell.
Aye, that's what you should be there. I had, mind I was telling a story about getting into bar 38.
Aye.
The trainers that I had then, so they were brown diesel ones, and then they had like a rainbow, or like if you can imagine like a sort of Nike swoosh, like that kind of, but it was thicker and all one shape, but it was like a rainbow with different shades of brown. They were like, they looked like they were for the 70s. They were cool as fuck, but also you look at them and go, So you had to take a chance of being able to pull it off if you were wearing them.
Sounds like one of the things when you go into the next sale and you see the fucking horrible shirts that you think they've not even been on sale all year round. Ever. Like they're for the sale for 10 years ago that you just keep bringing out every year.
Aye,
and the hope somebody's in a panic and buys it.
Aye.
It sounds like they might have been in that section.
They were, like I say, they weren't cheap, but I liked them. But I loved those chairs. And then I suppose they're not really like a terrible pair, but I remember getting a pair of, they're like a sort of tan coloured pair of Kappa ones when it was the first Tee in the Park that I went to. I got them just before that weekend, and I never wore them after Tee in the Park because they just got fucked in the mud. A total waste of time, kind of thing. Because maybe about 20 minutes at the festival, probably not even put the tent up yet. I'm going, they're fucked. So, aye, that was quite depressing.
Kappa. Was that when Kappa was that sort of a few weeks when Kappa was?
Well, it would have been like him when Liam Gallagher or no Gallagher would have worn a pair or something like that, and I'd be like, or Damon Albarn or something like that. I'm like, I'll get them
before they started printing shell suits. Did you ever have a shell suit?
Well, I had a Ruckener shell suit. Like same mum did. The whole money spent there. So Ruckener shell suit. Before they got banned for being highly flammable.
I was going to say, I think
I have a Scotland one. Or was it Scotland tracksuit you had there?
Probably, but I think the shell suit, because that's what I was going to. Just when you said flammable there, like before you said that, I'm sure that was the excuse I got for not getting one. They go on fire. You're not getting in there. That was the excuse, but I don't know if like they waited that long. Like I was moaning about it, and then it got to the stage where somebody had worked out they went on fire, so that's why I never got one. I assume that they've never been remade, Like
no, because they were kind of flammable.
Aye, but surely they know how to make stuff so that isn't flammable.
Well,
somebody's worked that out, surely.
No, the same though, is it? It's like if you've looked at the Jeopardy, that was half the fun. You're lucky, like your mum and dad cared about you enough to not buy you one because it was flammable. Mine's got me one for working in the furnace.
And a Ruckener one as well.
Aye.
Wonder why I ever had that brand.
Aye, again, probably somebody
with Sports Direct.
He's wearing them. Nobody else going to buy it. It was the opposite of influencer back in the day. Aye, that would have been. So Kim and Hibs had the Frank Graham group. stripped. So there's photos of me. There was like a Special Olympics in Glasgow. And my mum worked with people with disabilities, so we ended up going to the Special Olympics, you know. And
when it was called that.
When it was called that. No. Don Johnson from off of Miami Vice, he was at the opening ceremony.
Huh?
That's to give you an idea. But there's photos having me as a kid kind of with an Olympic torch with the Hibs with the kind of shell suit.
Amazing.
Over it. Aye. Those were the days.
The Frank Beers was smart though.
Oh, it was a smart strip. It really fit the now, obviously. But
that book that we were talking to the boy Colin about last week, the photos in it, there's loads of photos in the middle of it. And see, the photos are amazing. Like the old strips in that. It's just the strips are so much better in the old days.
Aye.
Maybe because you didn't have them like that many as well. Kind of was like you got home and then away, alternate seasons, eh?
Aye.
There's now they just fucking ram 3 out every year. And it's like, fuck, what colour? Date yellow, purple this time, black, mint. Aye. You know what I mean? Whereas then it was just like green, white. You know what I mean? But they're smart strips. Like I think they're smarter in the days.
Mind there was the one with the green and white stripes and the sleeves. Was it a Calagas? When was that? Miter that made that one,
right?
I think.
Aye, I mean, I suppose they were shinier as well, though. Kind of like the
aye,
kind of like when and I look at the photos there for the Soonest game, and it was a right silky.
Aye. Was the Soonest game? Did we have the white band across the chest?
Aye,
yeah.
It
was just reissued that. I'm sure Hibs have got that out.
No,
I'm sure saw Paul
then
Hanlon.
Save one.
Aye,
it's not the exact. They've got photos of the Save one as well. It's not the exact same one. It must have been the season before or something.
Aye.
I actually didn't have a sponsor on it. It was just a white stripe. I didn't have a sponsor on it. I don't know if you can see it. It's in the front cover.
Yeah.
It's actually not got a sponsor on it.
It'd be alright if it was a sponsor, but they just had white branding. Kind of just had to thought it through.
Aye.
White goods. C.R. Smith. White goods.
The White Good Company.
The head of the sponsor just sitting there, for fuck's sake, no again. Did you no check? What was the green topic was going on? Ewan McAleese says, in the event of World War III and the 2-minute warning emergency broadcast telling us Armageddon is imminent, what would you do? Are you prepared for a stay with an Armageddon box filled with whiskey, drugs, dildos, pies, whatever will be your end times finale activity?
Dildos and pies.
Dildos and pies. Do you need both?
That's quite a fucking scary thought when you think about it, because folk are actually in Ukraine doing that, I guess.
Aye.
They're hiding in bunkers and stuff. We've not got bunkers or that, though, have we? We're fucked.
No.
We've not got any infrastructure like that.
Nah.
What could you do? All you could do is run away, but then they would just keep chasing you. You know what I mean? There's no. He's just waiting.
Aye. Just hoping for the best. You stand under the door, isn't it? Like, I suppose if you take the same approach to an earthquake, if you stand under the doorway, that's meant to be the safest place in
Is it?
An earthquake. If you because I think the stuff that's falling down, obviously you've got a frame around you. So if you're just in the middle of the room, your ceiling would come down on top of you. That would happen under the doorway.
In the corner. Aye.
So there you go. Shortbangers survival tips. Should you need it?
It's another podcast idea.
What would you do then? See if you say that here's your last 2 minutes on Earth, Colin. How are you spending that 2 minutes?
Oh, I'd have to have
Actually, I came at you, but then you'd be on your phone going, "You're a cunt." Like, hang up quick. You're a cunt. Next one. You're a cunt.
I would just send it all. That would be quicker. That would save me a bit of time.
Get a few that you want to FaceTime so they can see you when you say it.
No. I don't know what I would. I've not really thought about the last 2 minutes. Fucking hell. It's not getting you long to do anything, is it?
Nah.
You just want to be with your kids and that. But I would. Fuck, I didn't care. I don't know. 2 minutes. Don't get you long 2 minutes, so you would have to do something. I'd empty that keg that I've got in that draft machine I've got in the kitchen. That would have to go. I would just be knocking that back as fast as I could.
I suppose it would depend what you were in the middle of when the warning came through as well.
But it wouldn't just arrive, eh? I mean, you'd be expecting it. It'd be like 2 years ago, but to the day almost, when they were saying it was going to be lockdown and everybody's in the shops raiding the shelves of pasta and toilet rolls. So you knew it was coming. You'd know this 2 minutes is going to arrive at some point. So you'd be doing stuff in the build up to that 2 minutes happening, wouldn't you?
Aye. Well, if you were out cutting the grass, would you finish?
No, I wouldn't have started because it. Wouldn't have started it.
I suppose if it caught you unawares though, because you could be doing that.
You're not going to get a 2 minute warning out of nothing. For one, they've not even put the fucking sirens up yet. So, I mean, you've got, as soon as the boys are fastening the sirens to the lampposts or whatever, then I'm thinking,
how long have I got? Tell me now, I can do something better.
This is Midlothian Council. Fuck, probably around the day after.
And what would you pack in your wee, if you were going into a shelter? What would you be taking with you?
Is this like essentials on top of your pastas and toilet rolls and that? I take some dark rum. Maybe a wee gin, just in case it's a nice sunny day as well. Like crisps, kettle chips. Quite like the kettle chips now. They're on offer quite a lot. I've got them. They're quite good. Can't think. I'd need to have this planned out. You can't get me on the cuff like that. I'd need to think this logically through.
Plan it through.
What are you thinking, like?
Well, what's a ready to eat stuff? If you can have like a tin opener, if you remember the tin opener, you can take tin stuff down. That's fine. You'd have that.
Yeah. And they would last longer as well.
Aye. So loads of tins of stuff. Obviously, no point taking frozen stuff because you can't freeze it. So it would predominantly tinned food and smoked meats, or like the meat that's lasts for ages.
But see, like if you're going to dig an underground bunker, would you put electricity in it so you could have a freezer downstairs and a cooker?
Well, if you had time to sort all that out in the means of it, because you'd probably then try to get internet and that hooked up to it too.
Aye.
Well,
they're not doing it now, aren't they? No, can I just have a room for one? But no, because the boys on the BBC using that. The guy Clive Myrie, is it Myrie? You know the guy that does Mastermind in that. He's in an underground bunker, and well, I suppose he's coming out. I assume he's coming out to do his filming. The guy that was on.
I think he feels like a mole.
Like I don't know. They ask him. Tweet in, text that. And 295, and they'll pass it on to the relevant department. But the guy Ben Shepherd and Kate Garraway had on this morning was a Ukrainian guy doing Good Morning Britain over there, or Good Morning Ukraine in this case. And they were recording or filming from the bunker, so they must have the internet and all that. They cut him off really quickly. They asked him a question. You could tell they were closing, right? It was fucking. You think, come on. So they gave him a bit of closing. You could tell they were desperate to get the advert away. Somebody's in the ear going, no, Ken, we're trying to fucking sell some. And so they had to cut in on the boy. We know you're busy. We know you're doing a great job. And I thought, yeah, can you got him on to talk? He's talking, and you're fucking chopping him off to put an advert on for fucking Lorraine or something.
Aye. That's it. The boy's literally taking time out of a fucking war to speak to you. Fattest Prick said, who would win in a fight, 15 mermaids or 15 baby orcas with no teeth?
That would be the mermaids, wouldn't it? Aye, because they've got hands. And they've no, and they can't really fight back with no teeth.
They're more intelligent, I would have guessed, than orcas as well.
Yeah.
Because they could probably get a strategy for it.
Yeah. They can talk to each other, and they can actually do stuff with their hands. They can swim. Faster. Well, not fast. Maybe not as fast. It would have to be the mermaid.
Orcas have a blowhole as well, don't they?
I don't know.
I think
would you just block it up? Then so the mermaid can block it with something.
Finger.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's an easy win for the mermaids there. Good question, though. William said, having played football from the age of 8 until now, I've had the ball kicked off me at every speed imaginable, and generally it's just bounced off. How does this knock him over? and it's a wee picture, I think, of Douglas Ross, the cunt
seen
getting knocked over.
Seen
it. How did it knock him over? Because it doesn't look like it should have done.
No, it was like he was overthinking it, and he thought he was going to trip up over it, and ended up tripping up over himself.
Yeah, what else happened is it's rolling towards him. One of the players has shouted, "It's a refugee!" And he's going, "Oh!"
Was it Gypsy? He gave. Was it Gypsy? He done.
It was I.
Did you see Ferguson's penalty the other night against Hearts? It was a wee bit like that.
Oh, no, I never saw. I heard Nielsen going mental about it.
Just took a
and
dive.
then James McPake saying he shouldn't have gone mental about it.
Right.
Was it a dive?
Oh, it was a dive. Yeah.
Aye. Good.
He got their toes touched, and then he thought, "Oh, wait a minute! I'll take a step in and I'll fall down."
Aye.
Like grown man falling down because it's just the thing is though, that we're going into football stuff, but the thing is, referees have brought this on themselves because they don't give fouls unless somebody falls down. And it was Stevie McLean, so he's probably thinking, well, he's fucking shy, eh? I'll see what happens, because he was right next to him. Like McLean was standing right there with his view unblocked. After just disallowing a goal, they had fuck all wrong with it as well. Hopeless. Just hopeless to everybody, McLean, though, at least.
Yeah, aye. The referees are all honking at the minute. I think there's a good one going. Right, Stuart says, one for Colin. How long do you have to wait for a takeaway order from Memories of India? Planning to pick one up on the way home from the game on Saturday.
Oh, so he's collecting it.
Aye.
Well, what I've done the last time, just a wee tip, what I would do is I would go and just eat earlier in the afternoon and just pre-order it for whatever time you think you'll get there. So I'd imagine you'll get there for 6 easy, maybe even quarter. Depends where you're parked, Stuart. But if you pre-order it for 6, they'll have it ready for you sitting there waiting.
Oh.
Is he asking for recommendations on what to get?
No, but I think it's probably. I think we should go the extra mile here for him. Aye.
So I particularly like something like the North Indian garlic chili chicken. I get, which is really nice.
That sounds nice to be fair.
Really nice. And my mate Jason really likes a thing, and I've had a bit of it. And it's all right. I don't like the look of it. That's what puts me off. But he says it tastes magic, and it's like a green curry. It's called a Bengali green curry or something. It's spicy, but you get it and you go,
does it look like green sludge? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah.
So I think if I told you this, I probably did. My big sister ordered an Indian, so it might have been through there, and they brought her the wrong order first. Right. But it was like bags and bags of food, and then so she phoned up, she got the wrong order, and they obviously did take that back off her because they carried the end of it. And they brought hers, so we took it, but one of the curries was that green one, and it looked honking. Like if you looked at it, you were thinking, "We should have eaten that," but it was nice.
Bengali green chicken or something it's called. He gets it, swears by it, it's lovely, and I've had a bite of it, and it is nice. I prefer the North Indian garlic chili chicken I've mentioned, but that one, they're both nice. It's just that you would need to maybe not look at it first, because it is like you go, "What the fuck's that?" But it's a good place to go. But I would just go and just eat. You can order it. The last time we had folk coming round for it, and I ordered them about at lunchtime, 1:30 or something, for a delivery for 8 o'clock or 8:30.
Aye, that makes sense to do it.
And you can just do it hours ahead.
The North Indian garlic chili chicken, what part of that drink's from North India? Is it North Indian garlic, the chili, or is the chicken from North India?
I think it's all, I think it's all.
Whole recipe.
I think it's all local produce. Aye.
That's the next thing. Can you just clarify something on this for me?
Which part?
What, you wanting some allergy information? No. Which part of the North Indian garlic chili chicken is for North India? Is it the garlic, the chili, or the chicken? I need to get.
Right, I'll find it out.
Hang up.
Text 98295.
Mike said, would you rather smell like cheese, which has been left in the sun, or a hamster cage, which hasn't been cleaned for a fortnight?
I don't really know what the hamster cage smells like. I've never had hamsters or anything. Is it quite
Well, I've not had hamster. I can tell you the guinea pig, if you left that for a fortnight, it'd be humming.
Right.
It would be
like a shit smell.
You'd smell the piss more than the shit.
Right. and the cheese left out in the sun, what would that smell like? It'd be like rotten cheese, like or melted. It'd be like melted cheese. That doesn't really smell. Depends what kind of cheese it is, I suppose, as well.
I'd probably rather smell like the cheese.
Yeah. Well, you'd know because you've had the hamster, the guinea pigs. I've not had anything like that. I don't know what to expect there.
Okay, would you rather be stuck in a phone box with 10 snakes or 10 tarantulas?
Probably the tarantulas, I think.
Would you? I go for the snakes every day. I hate spiders,
Do you?
Aye. Oh, they're just creepy bastards, aren't they? Like, the snake, I suppose it depends what kind of snake as well. Like, you wouldn't want to get kind of big, massive ones like in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't be great.
But even if you watch I'm a Celebrity, when it's on the telly at Christmas to November time, and they're obviously fucking well fed and taking the poison out of them or whatever, and they stick them in the coffin or whatever and they stick the snakes in. There's always one or two of them start wrapping themselves round the person.
Aye.
That's no. Even at that they're clearly not going to kill them live on fucking ITV on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? But you just think if they're going to do that would that's not for me. Like the wee spider, what can they climb over you? You know what I mean? No, the poison. If we're talking poisonous ones, then.
Well, tarantulas are poisonous, so they're not. That's the whole.
Well, but then so we're going with killer snakes as well then. So how would you rather die? Getting crushed by a snake or?
He's never mentioned killer snakes.
Right. Well, why is but are all tarantulas poisonous?
I think so.
Well, I'll take the non-poisonous thing then.
Aye, I think they're. I'm not Attenborough. Do you know? I could be wrong.
Fuck me.
There was a James Bond. I can't remember which one it is. It's Sean Connery James Bond where they put tarantulas into his bed. There's a kind of way to try and kill him. I should have just twats it with a shoe. That's how you deal with a spider, eh? Like there's a big convoluted way to capture it. Because then they just catching it in a glass and putting it outside or anything like that. Shoe. Just wax it like that. I'd be more likely to catch a tarantula and put it outside than just hit it.
Aye, because they're bigger, easier to hold. Like.
Aye, and messy if you just. Do you remember Bourne's granny had a tarantula, and it used to shed its skin?
Aye,
that was disgusting.
Yeah,
that's probably why. One of the many reasons why I didn't like them. That was a horrible thing. That used to give me the feel that as well. And last question also from Mike. Would you rather share a bed with a walrus or an eel?
Either them poisonous.
No, but he never said whether they might be amorous. So,
yeah, the eel's smaller, so it takes up less room.
I think the walrus is a bit. You can cuddle into a walrus. Do you know?
I think if there'd be much room left.
Well.
Fucking 2 us in it. I'm going Neil.
Right. Well, I'll take the walrus since there's no feeling left out. Right, that's us. That's our questions. Over and done with. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry about a wee bit late getting it out this week. That was due to me having a diary clash, which doesn't happen very often, remarkably. No, a man in demand, Colin.
It was a Christmas night out, wasn't it?
Aye, Christmas night out. I tell you, we went into Finnegan's Wake. I think if you've been in Finnegan's Wake it's on Victoria Street, and it's fucking depressing. It's like everybody in there was about the age of my son. You're just looking, oh fucking hell.
Well, that's what that's when we used to go. Would have been when we were 18, 19, 20 years. So.
We would have been those people.
Yeah. We'll maybe go in before we go and see Retro Video Club then.
Aye, we could pop in.
Next door, isn't it?
Interestingly, they were playing all Britpop tunes. And one of the boys that I was out with made the point, he says, listen, they're playing all that music now. The fact that they're playing that tells you how shite music now is.
Aye, music is now.
That they're still having to go back to Oasis and Blur and that.
Aye, fair point.
Aye. Or maybe they just saw us coming in, or we coming in at this age and went,
did you bring trainers on? Aye. There's a boy with the fucking trainers.
Mind him. Oi, Rockner. Aye, right. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Saturday with Quick Bang, maybe if we can get enough folk for it. If not, we'll be back on Monday or Sunday, one of those days with something. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.